Hey everybody, RetroPie Guy here. Today we're going to do a side-by-side comparison between the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and the re-released and remastered version of the same title. So it's been 20 years between these two titles. The first one came out in 2000, the re-released and remastered version came out in 2020. So we're going to jump in here, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of both games, and we're going to go over what has changed over the last 20 years and what has stayed the same. So let's jump into it. All right, so we just jumped into a very brief gameplay demo of each of these, kind of blended together just to keep this short and sweet. Now, I do have a full-length version of this video available, so jump down to the description below. You'll find a direct link in there to click over and see that full-length, in-depth version of this video where we go in and we do a much longer comparison between each of these games. So definitely check that link out. Again, that's in the description below. So let's talk about the differences here between the original version and the 2020 remastered and re-released version. So graphically speaking, they are just night and day apart. We have a 20-year gap from when the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was released and when the 2020 remastered version was released. So they're just not comparable in terms of graphics. You can see clear as day that obviously the 2020 version looks like you're actually navigating the real Tony Hawk, and the 2000 version, the original version, it looks like a retro video game at this point, which back in 2000, it was super advanced technology. We saw just a massive advancement in graphics at the time. Looking back on it now, obviously it looks subpar at best, but that's what happens. You know, 20 years, everything just evolves and gets better and better. We see major upgrades in graphics from year to year. So to go 20 years, you know, it's just an insane amount of time to, you know, have all these advancements at our fingertips. So to compare the two graphically, it's just not possible. Like I said, one looks like a retro video game. One looks like, you know, you're watching Tony Hawk actually skateboard. So beyond that though, what I love about what they've done with this re-release is they've kept it so true to the original. They haven't gone off on the tangent of reimagining the game in any way, which we have seen some games in the past that, you know, are re-releases, but they end up just changing so much about that game where, you know, you get to a point where it doesn't remind you at all of the original version. It just becomes this totally reimagined version, and that's not the case here at all. They've kept everything true to the original. They have the same locations with the same unlockable areas in them. So I actually jumped into the PS5 re-release version here. My son has been playing this for weeks and weeks, loves the game. I jumped on there and instantly was showing him where unlockable rooms were and all this stuff, and he was blown away. You know, he knew I hadn't played the game, but wasn't thinking that I played the original version 20 years ago, so I knew where everything was, even though, you know, it's a re-released game and everything looks completely different in terms of graphics, and even the soundtrack is completely different. All the rooms and the layout of these, you know, different locations is exactly the same. So it definitely scratches the itch with the retro gamer that wants to have that original feel and, you know, be able to relate to the game. And it also, you know, caters to newer gamers that didn't play the original version and are just experiencing this for the first time. You know, so I definitely think that they've just done a phenomenal job of putting out a game that, you know, is just relatable to all the different audiences that will enjoy this game for years to come. So I really have no complaints about the remastered edition here. I think that they've just done a phenomenal job, and they've just updated everything. Again, from graphics to audio to the soundtrack is completely different. You don't have your Power Man 5000 or Rage Against the Machine, or what else was on there? Anthrax. You have newer artists, newer songs, so it definitely caters to the modern day gamer more so than the retro gamer in terms of the soundtrack. But all of us that grew up on the original game obviously are still listening to music today, so it certainly works to have that modern soundtrack in there. So just absolutely love both versions here. And the other great thing is if you're playing it on PlayStation, whether you're playing a PlayStation 5 now for the remastered edition, or you're used to playing the PS1, which is the case for me, I'm still playing the original version on RetroPie, with a PS1 style Gamepad Controller. So the button mapping on both of these games is exactly the same. You're still doing the same tricks with the same buttons on a PS5 that you were doing on a PS1. While obviously PlayStation's controllers have evolved over the years and changed quite a bit, the buttons and symbols and where everything is placed on the actual controllers has remained the same for the most part. It's just a different look and feel. So it does feel a little bit different doing the tricks obviously on the 2020 version from the original version, but for the most part I was able to jump in there and instantly start doing the same tricks and find the same rooms in the game and do everything that I would do on the original version on that updated version. So I have absolutely nothing but the nicest things to say about this remastered version. If you're on the fence and you're thinking that maybe you're not going to dig the new version because you're tied to that older retro version from 2000 like I am, rest assured you are going to definitely enjoy playing this. And it's awesome to be able to play this with the next generation. My son had no experience with that original game, but he absolutely loves the same game just in remastered form. So that's going to do it for today. Don't hesitate to pick up a copy of this game. If you're looking to pick one up through Amazon or anything like that, check the description below. I'll put a direct link in there just to make it easy for everybody to click through and be able to grab a copy. You can also download it off of, on your PlayStation 5 or on your Xbox, whatever you're using. You can definitely download it as well as pick up that physical copy. So that's going to do it for today. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button for me. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do a whole bunch of different videos based around retro gaming, tutorials, product reviews, gameplay demos, a little bit of everything on here. And of course, check us out online, www.retropieguy.com. Thanks for watching.